welcome back to PlantJoyCo. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you all are doing really well. Even though it's winter here in Australia, it's not a very cold day today. It's about 22 degrees, but I still feel cold indoors. So that's why I'm in my, winter wear. In today's video, I'm going to talk about another genus which I am drawn to and I really love caring for. And that is none other than the Scindapsus genus. Now, when I talk about the Scindapsus genus, it brings back memories of my trip back to India when I was visiting my sister. I had never ever come across such beautiful foliage before. And I saw a little pot on her coffee table and I asked her, is this even a real plant or is it artificial? And she said, no, it's real. It is real. Look at it, touch it. It's in soil. And I just couldn't believe how beautiful that little pot of Scindapsus Exotica looked on her coffee table. And when I came back to Australia, all I did was look for that plant. And believe me, about 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, I don't even remember finding that in Australia. And I looked high and I looked low. And finally, I think I found one in Bunnings or on Facebook Marketplace. I can't even remember where I found it. And this is my original Scindapsus Exotica. In today's video, I'm going to share all my collection of Scindapsus plants as well as run through some of the varieties which are available in Australia at the moment. From my research, I think I have found that there are 36 different botanically verified species of Scindapsus or varieties of Scindapsus. And the main 4 varieties I believe are the Scindapsus Pictus Exotica, the Argyraeus, the Moonlight, and then the 4th one I think is the Treubii dark form. I have an extensive collection here. However, I'm going to give you a brief history of what I have learned about this genus. Okay, so Scindapsus is a Greek word. Okay, it's actually pronounced as Scindapsos, which means found on tree trunks, I believe, and Pictus, which means painting. Okay, so Scindapsus are basically tropical houseplants. They are found in Asia, in countries like Thailand, Malaysia, as well as the Philippines, and I believe also in northern Queensland and Papua New Guinea. And these are epiphytic in nature, so they're always trailing or they're climbing. As these are epiphytic plants, they need very loose, airy soil as they would grow in nature on tree trunks. And I'm going to break down this genus into 5 categories in my collection. So let's get started. So the first one is the Pictus Exotica. And this is classified with its big long leaves with a lot of silver speckling on it. Now when I brought all my plants to this table, my husband said, oh my God, they all look the same. But in my opinion, they're all different. Look at the patterns on the leaves. Okay, so this is a simple Exotica. And here we have the Scindapsus Silver Princess. Can you tell the difference between the two? And then if I go here to this one, now I am also at a loss of their names, so I'm going to refer to my tags. Okay, so this is the silver splash. Do they look the same? And look at how beautiful and big this leaf is. I haven't put it on a moss pole because I do not want to have too many moss poles in my collection. So I've just have this in a self-watering pot. Now this one out here is the silver cloud. This is very different compared to this. It looks similar but not the same, and the leaf shape also is very different. Look at this one. This is the original leaf. It's almost yellowing now, but I love how pixelated, you know, the leaf, the speckling is on it. And then one of my favorites is the silver lady. Do they look alike? They're similar, but not the same. Okay, now that we have some of the common Scindapsus Pictus exoticas, I'm going to take you through some of the other ones which are sought after by collectors. The first one is the snake scale. I haven't got this to, you know, size up in leaf size. They're still very small. I think I need to cut off the bigger leaves and then try and propagate them and probably try a new plant, and maybe it'll size up for me. Then we have the Scindapsus leopard. Now these two look very similar, but yet not the same. Look at the speckling of silver on this one, silvery yellowish, and this one is more silver speckles or green speckles. They look very similar, but yet not the same. Next we have the Mangurai. Now I have two Mangurais. This one has more variegation on it, and it's very, very textured, kind of leathery feel to the leaf. And this is the other Mangurai that I have in my collection. This has lower variegation, if you see, when I compare both the leaves. It started off with good variegation, and then I don't know what happened. Now this one is very beautiful in my opinion. This is the Exotica variegated. I bought it as just a one leaf cutting, and then I thought it had lost its variegation. However, the new leaf that has emerged has a slight variegation to it, but it looks so pretty. Next I have my silver splash variegated. Now this is one of my beautiful Scindapsus in my collection. I love the variegation on this. I have actually propagated it, and the variegation comes like this. Sometimes all cream with green spots on it, and I like a mix of both of them. Another one which I had a huge plant earlier was my Black Mamba. Now my Black Mamba, I don't know, when I repotted it, I don't know what I did, it died. It totally rotted on me, it had root rot and it died. So I bought a second one here, and I'm hopeful that this one will grow. And then the most sought after is the Scindapsus Mayari Aurea. This came as a one leaf cutting, however the original leaf died. This was the second leaf, and now it is a third leaf is emerging. Okay, when I last looked at the price of this one, it was $80 or $90 for a leaf cutting. This is still very expensive in the market, and in my opinion it's really hard to grow. So these are all the Pictus that I have in the Scindapsus genus. Quite a few of them. Next we're going to move on to the Pictus Argyraeus. The next category is the Scindapsus Pictus Argyraeus. Now when you compare this to the Scindapsus Exotica variety, it's very different. These leaves are much smaller, and the silvery speckling is, you know, around the vein, the mid vein of the leaf. Look at it, and then it has a very, very small lining on the margin of silver. So when you compare it to the Scindapsus Exotica, they're much, much smaller. The Exotica leaves can go to a size of my palm. Okay, and these again, they can be either put on a moss pole, which I have, I bought it this way, or it can be in a hanging basket. I think both would look really, really beautiful. And then there's a mutation of it, which is called the Silvery Ann. Now this one is a beauty. Look at that. It's so erratic in the way it is speckling. No two each leaves would look the same. Look at them. They're all so unique and different. Now I have bought several cuttings of this plant and it's quite fussy. Okay. So these are the original leaves that I bought, original cuttings that I bought, and these are relatively new. And you see how these new leaves are lighter in color as compared to the old mature type. The third variety of Scindapsus in my collection is this Scindapsus Treubii Moonlight. I have really struggled with this, or probably the cuttings that I had picked up weren't very healthy, but this one, which I bought online, is one of the best ones that I have. It has grown really quickly in this self-watering pot for me. And this is another type, but you see the difference between these two? I feel that the leaves are very, very different in shape. This one is a longer variety and this is more rounded. And this is supposed to be a variegated variety. It's got very, very low variegation here. Okay, but it looks more rounded to me. So this is the original Treubii Moonlight, and then I bought this one as a mint one, but it doesn't look very minty to me. It looks like an all green, but beautiful, lovely, shiny, waxy leaves. And then that is a Scindapsus Treubii Moonlight mint variegated. So this is a variegation, but it's got very, very low variegation in my opinion. But it still has a little bit of variegation here. I'm just waiting for this new leaf that is going to emerge to find out whether it's going to have a little bit of variegation, little more than this at least. Then I'm going to move on to the variegated variety. Now this one is a beauty. This is also called the Moonlight Aurea or the Rubicon. In this pot I have two different Moonlight Aureas. One is very, very small and one is a prolific grower. Now I have made many props from this mother plant and it has reached maturity and the leaves are really beautiful. Look at them, and so pillowy and textured. And then last but not the least in this collection is the Treubii Albo. Now look at the variegation on this. This is like a full variegation. This is half moon and this has speckling. So each of these leaves are so different. I bought it as a one leaf cutting. And then this is referred to as a blue albo. But in my opinion it looks the same. This has very, very low variegation and it has literally crawled in the way it's growing. It's so slow and now the leaves are yellowing. I'm not sure what's wrong with this, so probably after I finish this video I have to check its roots. But in my opinion, look, it's quite well rooted and it's in a self-watering pot, so I'm not sure what's happening here. Maybe I need to give it a lot more humidity. Last but not the least of the Treubii Moonlight collection is this blue albo mint. Look at the variegation. There are two plants in here. This is a smaller plant and this is the bigger plant. And as you see that it is growing, it is sizing up its leaf size. Look at that variegation. So different compared to these small leaves. This is more speckled and this is looking more aurea. So they always surprise you, you know, these Scindapsus. Now that we have seen the Treubii Moonlight, I'm going to show you the next category, which is the Treubii Moonlight dark form. My next Scindapsus is the Scindapsus Treubii dark form, also called the black dove. Now this is very, very dark. Look at the color. It's so green, dark green. Okay, and I love the texture. Look at the veining. It's very fine and it's beautiful to look at. And then there's a variegated form of it, which is very, very small in my collection. I bought it as a one-leaf cutting and it has grown now for me. Okay, so this is the variegated form of the Treubii dark form. It's still very little and hopefully it should grow for me. Next, we're going to move into the Jade Satin variety. The next category I have here is the Jade Satin variety. Now these two are the same variety of Jade Satin Aurea, but look at this one. This has beautiful variegation as compared to this plant, which it is more marbled, and this is a half moon, and the new leaf which is very blotched. But I absolutely fell in love with this original leaf which is now dying off. However, this plant has given me beautiful foliage. These are very, very highly sought after plants amongst collectors of Scindapsus. Next, we'll move on to the Jade Satin all green. Okay, this is also very rare to find in Australia. Not many people have this because it's all green. However, I just love this all green look. There's something special about this plant. I have had several cuttings which have died on me. However, I'm not giving up on this plant. And then you have the cream brulee. Look at the variegation on all of these. I had got this as one single leaf cutting, and it has grown up this moss pole for me, and the new leaf which is emerging is absolutely gorgeous. So different and so unique. And then we have, last but not the least in this collection, is the Scindapsus Jade Satin Mint. Each leaf again is so different and unique. It started off with this kind of marbled variegation. Then it gave a green leaf altogether with little spots. Then a splotched one. Then another marbled with a green splotch. And look at it. I hope it doesn't lose its variegation. Next, I'm going to show you some of the silver Scindapsus I have in my collection. Now these are also, some of them are quite common to find in nurseries around Australia, but some are sought after by collectors. The last category in my Scindapsus collection are all these beautiful silvery looking Scindapsus. We'll begin with the Silver Hero. So both of these are Silver Hero types. I've put one in just in this pot and one on a moss pole. And then we have the Scindapsus Tattoo. Now this is not looking very happy, but I do have cuttings which I have propagated, and I'm going to add them to this pot. These are very common and easily found in nurseries, especially the Silver Hero, but not so much the Tattoo, but it's commonly found among collectors. And the next category is the Silver Cloud. I am in love with this because it's so beautiful, and I probably it gets its name because of how pillowy the leaf is, and it's Very textured. Look at those veins. It's absolutely stunning. And then we have the Scindapsus tricolor. This has some silvery notes on it. Look at this. This is my second take on this plant, but this is a very good specimen that I have bought. The previous one was a one-leaf cutting which died, but this specimen is really, really good, and it's a prolific grower. I have made 3 props already from this one. And the last one, which I really, really love, and I bought from one of the fairs that I went to, the plant fairs. This is the Scindapsus Hologram, variegated. Okay, it came as this one single leaf, and I think I paid $150 for this one leaf, if I remember correctly. And it has grown. It's very, very, very slow. It's over a year, and in 1 year it has given me 3 more leaves. And look at the difference in all the leaves. And that's the reason why I love Scindapsus, because they keep surprising you with every emerging leaf. And there's one more leaf which is going to come through. So hopefully it'll have more variegation. I can see a little bit of variegation here on it. Now that I've shown you all the Scindapsus in my collection, I'm going to talk about some care tips, the soil that I use, the different kinds of pots that I use, as well as what fertilizers I use to keep them healthy and thriving in my collection. So I'm going to share some of my care tips and how I take care of all my Scindapsus collection. When I'm planting my Scindapsus, I use a very, very airy aeroid soil. As you can see, I've got cocoa chunks, I've got leca balls, I've got orchid bark, I've got perlite, I've got some pumice, and I've got a little bit of vermiculite as well as some worm castings in it. Okay, and a little, very, very little bit of potting soil. When I propagate, I use this mix, and I use these little cups that you can get at the dollar shops for propagation. And this is my propagation mixture. It's just tree fern fiber, some cocoa peat and perlite. So I mix it all together, and they really, really propagate well in this mixture. I also use a rooting hormone which I bought off Amazon. It's called Garden Safe Take Root. So I use this brand. It's not a sponsored video by Amazon or even this company, but this is tried and tested. So why don't you try with your propagations? And these are some of my propagations. This is the Silver Hero. This is the Tattoo. And this is the good old Argyraeus. And when I fertilize my Scindapsus, I use a mixture of GT silica once a month. So I put in the required amount into this sprayer. Okay, this is a pump sprayer, similar to the one I use for pure crop. I have the same type, and then I put in the GT silica in it, keep it for half an hour, and after half an hour I add the foliage focus. All the recommendations are here on the bottle. I use CCS as well as root zone, and this combination has really, really worked really well for my collection of Scindapsus. And when I'm managing pest, I use Pure Crop 1 for all my plants. Okay, this is really, really good. I have this handy dandy sprayer, and I've also named it Pure Crop, so I don't use it for anything else. I use the recommended amount on the bottle, and I spray it at least once a month on my plants to keep them healthy. And the only thing that I've seen on Scindapsus is, let me have a look and I'll show you. that you can see like some kind of creature eats the side of the leaf. And I did see it on one of them, so I need to spray it again. That's the only thing that I've encountered with this genus, and yellowing of leaves. So do not overwater. What I use in my collection and for most of my Scindapsus plants is a self-watering pot. These are they're available both on Temu as well as on Amazon. And I really love these pots because there is a water gauge on the side, and then you can also lift them up. They are not too big in size, and they're just perfect for this size of plant. And all my plants are living in ambient conditions. So I've got this hygrometer. Indoors today it's 20 degrees Celsius, and the humidity it's at 65%, sorry. That's the end of this video. We're coming towards the end, and you know, I've learned so much over the past 1 year about this genus, and I would love to hear, you know, your experiences with growing Scindapsus, and I would love to hear your comments. So please feel free to comment. Okay, I really love reading comments from my subscribers or from anyone who views my channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, because it really motivates me to create more content for you. Okay, I am learning on this journey, on this planting journey of mine. I'm learning every single day, and I love to share my tips and tricks that I have learned with people who are just starting off. So until next time, thank you for watching, and see ya. Bye bye.